Hi, this is Neil from NNC Health and Wellness. Been a while since I posted up a video, but I've been doing a little bit of homework and a bit of research around a new venture I'm going to be getting involved in, and I'll talk more about that at another time. But part of what I've been doing is having a look at various different documents in terms of how and to what extent our DNA and genetics affects our ability to lose weight, to gain weight, what foods we should and shouldn't be eating, etc. But something I'll be talking about more at a future date. However, one of the documents I was reading was from the guys at PN Nutrition, and on one of the pages, something jumped out at me, and I thought I would share it. And this is really specifically for those people who struggle to lose weight, struggle to manage their weight, struggle to motivate themselves to go to the gym and do exercise. And sometimes consider themselves or view themselves as if something's wrong with them, as if they've developed a problem which makes them different from everybody else, and maybe even leads to that view that maybe you get that idea that maybe you're broken or we're broken because we have these issues. And so I just thought I'd share it in a really quick video. So just some of the points that came up that I thought were worth sharing. So just talking about a bit of evolution. So most humans evolved to store body fat. Humans who couldn't do this very well would risk starvation. During times of scarcity, in particular, women need to have enough body fat to support their potential long-term energy demands of pregnancy and breastfeeding, particularly over a long cold winter. Back in our genetic history, back in caveman days. So we were actually have evolved over time to store body fat. That's a natural phenomenon. Most humans evolved to prefer things that taste good and to want to eat lots of food when it's available. For most of our history, food was hard to get, and sweetness signaled things that were energy dense and good to eat. This legacy affects our appetite, hunger, and fullness signals, and regulation, especially in the 21st century when delicious rich foods are everywhere. So we are actually pre-programmed or genetically predisposed to be attracted to things that are sweet, because they actually signal foods that are energy dense. And in times when food scarcity was great, obviously the more energy dense foods we could eat when it was abundant, when it was available, i.e. in the summertime, we would want to consume as much as possible to give us the energy reserves to get us through the long cold winter. It's about to say long cold lonely winter, but to quote the Beatles. Most humans evolved to conserve energy. In other words, we are naturally less inclined to move around. If there's no reason to do it, why waste valuable energy when you don't have to? So again, in the same space, we're obviously predisposed to consume as much energy as possible when it's there, and then also to conserve energy and not to burn it off unnecessarily. So call this laziness or just call this energy conservation. What you say, what I say. And most humans evolved to seek rewards. So what gets us off our butts and out of the safety of the burrow? The promise of something good. Our brains have complex circuits that inspire us to explore, be curious, and chase things that reward us, such as food, fun, or getting a mate. Many types of energy-dense food give us a chemical hit, helping us synthesize feel-good neurotransmitters. All right, so this is our genetic predisposition, is to seek reward, and unless we can see that reward, to conserve energy. So just putting a little bit of context around that, so having some squish on your body, or loving ice cream, or preferring to lie on the couch rather than go to the gym, doesn't necessarily mean your body is broken. It probably means your genes are doing their job. You are doing what evolution has pre-programmed us to do, of finding and conserving precious energy. Traits that were evolutionary advantages for most of our history. When food was scarce, daily energy demands were high, and rewards were hard to come by, are simply a mismatch now, especially if we want to be lean or stay away from the chocolate-covered pretzels. So as I say, that's just quoting from this document, but I really thought that was quite important. So when those of us who are, who turn around and say, I just can't motivate myself to get up and do any exercise, I just can't motivate myself to go on diet, remembering what it is that you're trying to overcome. It's not that you're broken. It's not that there's something wrong with you. You're actually trying to overcome, a millennia of genetic predisposition to want to conserve energy. Now, that's not to say you can't do it. You can't turn around and say, well, this is my default programming, I can't change, because clearly one of the things that I've discovered in my research around genetics is the difference between what our DNA says is our predisposition and what of our DNA genes are the ones that are actually expressed. In other words, our environment and our behavior actually allows us to then turn some of those genes within our DNA code on and push others down and suppress them. So, it's no excuse that you are predetermined, if you like, to be lazy, or not to get off the couch or to sit and just eat sugary foods. So certainly we can change it, but don't ever consider yourself to be broken because you find that a struggle, because you have to be very self-disciplined to do that. That's what we need to overcome. And of course, just to put it into a bit of context, the problem at the moment is our time. There are all these energy-dense foods that are available to us, which obviously, while we are genetically predispositioned to be in an environment where there's a scarcity of food. However, of course, if America's President Trump and his counterparts in North Korea decide to have their way and both push the red button, then many of you that maybe consider yourselves at a disadvantage at the moment may find that your genetic predisposition may put you in an advantageous position in a post-apocalyptic era. Anyway, just a message I wanted to get across. As I said, the point I'm trying to make is don't view yourself as broken. Don't turn around and say there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. You are the product of evolution. But that's also not an excuse not to get off your butts and do it. And the way to do that is to find reward. Remember, we're also have this genetic predisposition to go out and seek reward. So give yourself goals, set yourself rewards, go out, achieve your goals, give yourself the reward. That way your genetics are again working for you. Have a good weekend, everybody. It's Neil Friedman here from NNC Health and Wellness.